I have made 2, now 3 videos about the Midnights era. It's truly the gift that keeps on giving. In my first, I talked about it from a business sense. In my second, I floated the idea that maybe it was a breakup album. And in this third, maybe final video, I'm going to talk about the newly released Til Dawn version and how it signals the end of the Midnights era while hinting at Taylor's future. I think the Til Dawn version more or less does retcon Midnights into a proper breakup album. For those of you out of the loop, retconning refers to revising or introducing new information to create a different interpretation of previous events. Think the Fast and the Furious 6 revealing that Letty had been alive all this time even though it looked like she died in movie 4. The Til Dawn track editions and the omissions made on the special late night edition CDs released for the Eras tour shows in East Rutherford, I think these more or less frame this record as a proper breakup album. I mean, even the name Til Dawn implies the end of Taylor's midnight ruminations, indicating a movement in time. Dawn only comes after midnight has passed, when night becomes morning and a new day starts. A common theme behind all of my videos has been track listing and why it matters. While the Til Dawn version does contain both Glitch and Paris, the decision to remove these 2 songs off the physical late-night CDs speaks volumes. Both of these tracks are quite romantic tracks that have been interpreted to be about Taylor's previous relationship. They're now both gone. Call it CD length limitations or what have you, it feels deliberate. Instead, on late night version, we get a completely new, previously vaulted track, You're Losing Me, that reimagines or reveals Midnights as a breakup record, even in the writing stages. You're Losing Me is a devastating breakup song that calls back to so many of Taylor's previous works. The thumping heartbeat instrumental recalls Wildest Dreams, another song about a relationship doomed to fail, but also the instrumental feels like a dying version of I Think He Knows, like the life is being sucked away from it. The melody feels like a forlorn sister to Cornelia Street, which itself was about the fear of losing your love. In You're Losing Me, the nightmare is coming true. I hope I never lose you becomes Stop, You're Losing Me. The use of vocoders over her voice really reminded me of Delicate. There's a lot of callbacks to Reputation and Lover on this track. The first pre-chorus itself feels like a retelling of the Reputation love story, but with the brutal twist that the final blow was dealt by her own lover. The chorus feels like an extension of the line about checking the pulse off All Too Well, as does a motif about death that was really present in the 10-minute version. The second pre-chorus feels like an extension of The Great War. The air is thick with lies and indecision feels like Somewhere in the Haze, got a sense I've been betrayed. And Now You're Running Down the Hallway might dovetail the lyrics about leaving because you're tired of my scheming from Antihero. As usual, the bridge tends to be where Taylor spills her heart out. I really thought that the structure of it and the themes of people-pleasing reminded me a lot of Mirrorball. The lines I gave you all the best of me, my endless sympathy echo tolerated its messaging as well, and all I did was bleed as I tried to be the bravest soldier and so on and so forth, continue the Great War's metaphor. The line that everyone's talking about is I wouldn't marry me either, and it's a dagger to the heart, especially after songs like Champagne Problems, Paper Rings, and Peace. But that section starting with do something, say something, lose something, the evolution of those verbs as she sings it feels like the stages of grief happening in real time, which is just really gutting. I hope that it gets dropped on streaming soon. I really loved it. And that's just one song in the Midnights Vault. Imagine what else is in there. In terms of the Til Dawn editions, we also get 3 new tracks, which one of them was my personal favorite, Hits Different, previously a Target exclusive, now available for anyone worldwide. Fans who wanted more Lana on the original version of Snow on the Beach get a more Lana version where she gets to sing a whole verse. Ice Spice, a rising rap princess who has exploded on the charts recently and even collaborated with the legendary Nicki Minaj, features on a remix of Karma. The Ice Spice remix of Karma really did grow on me after a few listens. It's not a complete rebuild of the song the way that Bad Blood with Kendrick Lamar was, but it's a charming reconfiguration of the original song. The original was pretty campy, but Ice adds a charming layer of ad-libs to it that punctuate parts of the song and add some energy to the track. There's also some slight production differences to make the song feel a little bit more dynamic. My favorite ad-lib has to be Karma is my bestie at the very end. It's such a straightforward, fun line. Ice's verse is very smooth smooth, she knows how to float over any beat. I found it interesting that Ice interpreted Karma as a she. It adds a layer of duality to the song and a new identity for Karma. The lines about white flags feel like a sly reference to the Great War, while the lines about Karma winning the pageant at the end recall the imagery of the You Need to Calm Down music video. Ice definitely did her homework. The more Lana version of Snow on the Beach makes the song feel brand new. The whole production feels more atmospheric, almost mystical in the way that the instrumental wraps itself around the vocals. I swear that we can even hear some new vocals not just from Lana, but Taylor as well. What struck me was that there was no lyrical additions, which underscores the authenticity of the original's lyrics. Taylor, Lana, and Jack really did say what needed to be said in that first version. But Lana's vocals on her solo verse, she really does use those to reclaim her co-written words here. The way that she sings her verse in a higher register is spellbinding. It makes a lot of sense that she did take the second verse. The Aurora Borealis green rhyming scheme really evokes her songwriting on chemtrails. I never really noticed how similar it reads to a song like Not All Those Who Wander Are Lost. I also noticed while working on my NFR video that you can actually see the Aurora Borealis in the back of the Fuck It I Love You music video. Lana's got her own Easter eggs and motifs. You can definitely tell that this is a crossing of Lana and Taylor's established universes on this mix, and I think that's what makes this version so magical and definitive. I've gone to bat for Hits Different in both of my two videos about Midnights. It's such a fun pop rock gem that evokes the feel of 1989 with shades of Speak Now honesty thrown in there. Aaron and Jack co-producing this yields such a familiar but new sound that's addictive, and it's probably going to be my most played song of the year if I'm being honest. I'm excited to see this track canonized. I also do think that this track is a hint at Taylor's upcoming material in some ways. Many have pointed out how this track doesn't quite fit the Midnights aesthetic. Even lyrically, it brings up the sun burning her heart while the sand hurts her feelings. I think that it's intentional and why it belongs to the Till Dawn tracks, even more so coming right after Dear Reader. It might not be intentional, but it's a perfect bookend to that song. If Dear Reader is a letter written and sent in the darkest hours of the night, Hits Different is the hangover of the morning afterwards, waking up and realizing the consequences of staying up so late. I feel like Taylor does love this track. She made a video about it on her Instagram. Re-listening to it and realizing the upcoming Speak Now Vault tracks are coming really have me hoping that Taylor does return to a more guitar-driven, possibly pop-rock leaning direction in the future. We've already gotten rumors that she's writing, collaborating, and working with her new beau, Maddie Healy, and needless to say, I think we are going to get some songs that may evoke the 1975 sensibilities, as well as other collaborators beyond Jack Antonoff, which for some would be a welcome change. What I personally think about TS11 is that it doesn't need to sound cohesive or loyal to any of the previously established sounds that Taylor has made. I think we're due for a more experimental, uncharted territory. She's proven her staying power through evolving with the times and putting a new spin on the zeitgeist. With pop rock making a comeback overall, I think it's high time that we see Swift make her mark on the genre. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an emphasis on imagery around the sun, or something that really contrasts Midnights. I've said it many times in this video, but the idea of dawn coming after midnights, after 3 a.m., after the late night, it just seems so intuitive, because it is true, there is always a new day after each passing night. All in all, I never imagined that I'd make so much content about a single album, but the unraveling of this era over the last 7 or so months has truly been one of the most exciting pop eras that I've ever lived in. I've gotten flack for calling Midnights a second Imperial era for Taylor Swift, but it's undeniable how strong this era has been culturally and commercially. I cannot imagine how insane TS11 is going to be. Knowing Taylor, who knows, maybe this could come right after the Eras tour ends. Maybe even before we get all of the re-recordings. That would be really insane. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really did not anticipate making a third video about Midnights, but these new tracks came out, and I love Taylor, and I love her music, and I felt the need to sort of talk about it. I felt really vindicated because a lot of people thought that Midnights wasn't a breakup album, you know, like that my silly theory was dumb. But surprisingly, I feel like the breadcrumbs were there the whole time. I want to give a quick shout out to my members, to my subscribers. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on the multiple social accounts that I have. I am still working on the Chromatica recap video. It might be 30 minutes long and it might not make it on the day of the anniversary, but it will be here within the next week. Again, another shout out to my members. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and my subscribers and people who watch, and even if you don't subscribe, it's cool that you're listening to me. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time.